Yeah. Urban Heat.
Good morning.
R&B Talk on a Thursday morning. Good morning, y'all.
Thursday morning. I'm not even on. You by yourself. What are we doing here?
You're not up? Oh,
No.
wait a minute. I hear you, though.
I don't hear me.
Well,
I don't
something's
know.
wrong. Your headphones plugged in correct?
This thing on. Hop on.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry.
Hop on.
Can you hear yourself now?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Right.
I didn't have a Facebook up. There we go. So we good to go now.
Now we're good. I exist.
All right. You
here.
exist. You over there. The mic is yours
I'm
and everything.
in the room, baby. I'm in the room. How's it going?
So how you doing today?
Man, listen, I will tell you that I'm excited that the season of summer is upon us and we are beginning the process of change.
It's definitely a good thing.
Yeah.
Warm weather is it. I'm not into the cold. I can only take so much of it. After a while, come on. Just stop with it.
Can I just say something for whatever it's worth, right?
Yep.
Every winter, I say the same thing. I go, oh, you know what? I don't want to live here anymore. I can't stand the snow. I need to get out of here.
You know what's crazy?
And then spring shows up and I go,
I try my best to be out of here like once a month during the cold months.
Oh,
at least.
I'm telling you, it's crazy.
Just for the mental, man. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Let me tell you. But we got a lot to talk about.
What are we talking about today?
Okay, so we're going to talk about Diddy. Of course, we always talk about crypto. We got the Karen Reed. I want to talk to you about Money Long. But before we do that, I got to give a shout out to one of my boys because he's a firefighter.
Okay.
And he showed some bravery. Recently, there was a fire downtown. There was smoke coming from the rooftop of a building. And he went in and said, yo, y'all got to get up on out of here. And, one of Boston's first responders. And I just want to play a clip. And, they showed it on Channel 5 News. So I want to give him a shout out real quick. Okay. And then I'm going to tell you a quick story about it.
A fire on a downtown Boston rooftop.
There was a ton of smoke, really dark smoke, and kind of at the corner of the building there were live flames, like orange flames that I could see.
The smoke visible for miles, but people working inside of this 6-story office building largely didn't know what was happening until a firefighter came knocking.
A fireman came to the door and said, everybody out.
The alarm is going off. Is something really happening? Someone came by and knocked on our door and said, you have to go downstairs. There's a fire on the roof.
Fireman Louis Palermo was working a fire detail across the street when he spotted the blaze on the roof. He immediately called it in and ran inside to get everyone out. He was too humble to speak with us on camera.
It's early acknowledgement of it and calling it in, sure, it prevents it from extending down the street, sure. The sooner we can get here, the better.
Thank God for him. That's big time. And yeah, I'm just glad it seems like everyone got out and there were other people evacuating. So really thankful for that.
Boston Fire says the blaze started on a wooden roof deck built on top of a rubber roof, though it's unclear how it started. No one was hurt here, and everyone knows this may not have been the case, if not for one man's quick thinking.
Really appreciate the fire department when you have something like this happen, that's for sure.
All right. Okay. So
wait, it was a roof deck. Oh, so what? Someone barbecuing or something?
I don't know. They don't know how the fire started, but big shout out to my guy Louis. Showing his bravery. Now I'm gonna tell you a quick story. Okay. This was a long time ago. This might have been 10 years, maybe a little longer than that. He's a good friend of mine too. Okay. So we're traveling down to the Carolinas for
South
this big
Kakalaki?
For this big cookout, right? Okay. So about I'm the only one that's not a firefighter. There's like 3 other guys. They're all firefighters. I'm the oddball. I took the test and I was like, nah, I don't want to do that. So anyway,
I took the test and I didn't want to go any further.
I'm like, yo, I just want to do radio, man. I don't want to do the fire thing, man. Oh, all right, goose. Anyway, so as we're traveling down, we're in Virginia, about to hit the Carolinas, and there's this accident on the other side of the road. It's a church van with about 6 people in it. It's flipped over. They got to shut down the highway, med flight people to the hospital. But I'm in the car. I'm in the car with firefighters. These guys took over. And Louis was the ringleader. And I'll never forget because, all these guys, I'm the only oddball. I don't know what to do. And I'm like, yo, Lou, what can I do to help, man? He's like, make sure he don't go to sleep, And that's what I did, man. So big shout out to Lou, man.
Sounds like Louis is a leader.
Louis is definitely a leader, man. He's the type of guy, man. He'll give you the shirt off his back, no doubt. And very, very, very humble dude, man. So, hey, shout out to you, man. Oh yeah. All right. So,
that's what's up.
Yeah, that's what's up for sure.
I tell you, it's always great when you see people stepping up and being altruistic.
Yeah.
Right. There's something to be said. You can't always do that. You can't always go into situations and put yourself out there, because the reality is that sometimes you can get hurt, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But there are also opportunities in life where you can stand up for what I refer to as the underdog.
Right.
And you have an opportunity to do the right thing. And the fact that he did that, not expecting accolades from anybody, not getting a
very
key from
humble
the city,
guy. Didn't even want to
me,
go on
you know,
camera on Channel 5.
That's what's up.
You know?
I appreciate that.
Very humble dude, man.
I love that.
Yep. So
shout out to Louis.
All right. So I'm going to talk about Money Long now. So
Money Long
was on TikTok, and I don't know how this came about. And I actually thought I had, oh no, I do have the audio. So I'm going to play the audio for you. So she's online, and you know, people came for her for whatever reason, and this is how she responded. Check this out.
Cause I'm being myself, I'm acting just like your raggedy mama and your aunties with them ashy cankles. This is how they act. Cause I'm being myself, I'm acting just like your raggedy mama and your aunties with them ashy cankles. This is how they act. Cause I'm being myself, I'm acting just like your raggedy mama and your aunties with them ashy cankles. How they act.
All right, so I read it a couple of times, so I'm gonna make sure everybody heard it. So she talked about your raggedy aunties and your mama with them ashy ankles. Okay, and now personally, let me just say this too, right? Now, if I'm her manager, no, don't respond like that. They're gonna come for you on the internet. The internet always wins, and that's just what it is. But the other side is
interneting.
The other right. The other side is she is who she is. She's a sister. And what happens when someone come at you or me or any of us, right?
Right.
You go back at them.
Yeah.
So she did what we do, and now
but there's a thing called decorum.
Right. That's true.
There's a thing about. So I'm not sitting, you know me, I love to play devil's advocate, right? So let me cook here for a second.
Yeah.
I feel like once you enter into a certain realm and you are placed on a platform, and your platform has visibility and power to influence, you have to move differently.
Right.
You can't just be on the standard run-of-the-mill ratchet hood stuff.
Right.
Right. And so I don't think everything is necessarily needing a response. Some things are better said. The silence is more powerful than the clap back.
Right. It is. It is.
That's my only.
Now they're trying to pull her black card.
Oh, not the black card.
Right. Now, here's the other side of that, right?
Okay.
So last year, back in 2024, the CEO of Atlantic Records wanted her to write some soulful songs for pop artists.
Okay.
And she said, hell no.
Okay.
Right? So on one side, you want to pull her black card, but, you know, I appreciate what she did in saying hell no. Nah, I want to write for my people. You know what I mean? So
how can you really pull? I mean, look, she's a very beautiful woman.
Yeah, no doubt.
From
no
what
doubt.
I'm looking
very
at her
gorgeous
photo,
lady.
Very, very beautiful woman. You know, sometimes you could be absolutely stunning and gorgeous, but your mannerisms, your behavior, your attitude.
She comes off strong, very strong.
Very, very ugly. Yeah, but there is confidence. And then there's ugliness. Like let's be very clear, right? Because I come off strong. Right. I'm fully aware of my space and my surroundings and who I am. Right. I know this about myself. But understand something. There's something to be said about carrying yourself with respect. And having respect also means that I'm choosing to engage in something one particular way or another. And if you are in a position where you are on a platform, that means that young girls are looking at you.
Right.
I'm just saying there's a certain level of responsibility in this, and you're pretty, so it doesn't even match.
Well, she definitely, again, if I was her manager, oh no, you're going to keep quiet. You're not going to respond to that. You know, we're going to do something else. The internet always wins.
The internet be interneting.
You cannot beat the internet. Now later on, after they undragged her so much, here's what she had to say after they undragged her.
All right, y'all got it. I quit. Y'all done drugged me, whooping me all through the streets by my hair. So now once I get this whipping though, that's it. You can't come back and keep, you know what I'm saying? Once I took the L, did my time. Whenever that is, because y'all still going. But I'm done. I'm through. I can see it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to again. I'm gonna have to call it. So let me get this. You're gonna scream uncle, right? After you done got beat up in the internet streets, and you had your tail handed to you, and now you're talking about, okay, now leave me alone because I'm done. Nah, you done whacked the hornet's nest.
Right.
Like again, cause and effect.
Mm-hmm.
Cause and effect. I don't feel bad when if you listen. It's one thing if you're unprovoked and they're coming at you, right? There's certain things that have happened on the internet that I go, man, like kids are off limits. I feel like there's certain things that if you are on a platform that people should not engage in, right? Whether, and some of these clapbacks are insane. Like I always think of 50 Cent. Like 50 Cent by far is probably the most pettiest individual I've ever.
And who don't care about nothing.
Right. And will come for your whole family line and not care. Right. So again, be very, very mindful of who you choose to start engaging with. Understand that the internet streets are real, and there are keyboard thugs out there that have no problem trying to find pictures of you from 6th grade when you had 2 missing teeth. I'm just saying. So before you go out there being reckless and wild out on the streets, be mindful of how you interact. So now you're upset because you got held by your frontal weight, your weave. You got held up by your frontal. Now you're being dragged. And now you're talking about mercy. I did my time. Leave me alone. Nah, babes. You're probably going to be on some memes for a while, and people are going to come
doubt.
for you.
They're definitely coming at her, but hey, I'm going to put it out there. Listen, I'm with Money Long. You know, I get it. And I think we should understand who we are as people. Somebody come at you, you're going to go back at them. Now, in certain cases, I know I can walk away from many. Man, I ain't got time for this. Let me get out of here, man. I don't even want that.
Yeah,
energy.
But not every battle is supposed to be fought.
No, true. But my point is that okay, she's young. I don't know how young she is, but she's immature when it comes to marketing, of course, because she wouldn't have said anything at all. It's not good for her image. It's not good for her being an artist, where she's trying to sell her product to people.
Absolutely.
You know,
who's gonna want who if she ain't young? She's 35.
All right. Well, she's young-minded.
She's 35. That's
young-minded.
not young. That's Lord.
She's young-minded, and we all know there's some 30-year-old people that act like they're 21. Come on. Yeah. So
twang.
So that's how I feel about it. I'm with you, Money. Listen, just keep your mouth shut. You got dragged. You were wrong. You got caught, and they dragged you. Leave it alone from now on. Matter of fact, if you haven't apologized already, just apologize.
But who is she apologizing to?
To the Pizza Black woman, because that's who she was addressing.
To all.
Basically, I'll run it. Let me run it again.
So that was. Oh, can you run it on speaker so they can hear you on the line?
I'll run it on speaker so everybody can hear.
Yeah, I want people to be able to hear.
All right, here we go. This is Money Long. Before she was dragged, but this is why she was dragged in the mud.
She was dragged.
Cause I'm being myself, I'm acting just like your raggedy mom and your aunties. With them ashy cankles. This is how they act.
Yeah, nah.
And it's kind of funny when you think about it. Yeah, I'm acting out like your raggedy aunties and your mama with the ashy ankles. I mean, it's kind of funny. Listen,
there's levels to this.
I get it.
There's levels to this.
But it's funny.
Okay, it's funny. It's always going to be funny when it's not you that's in the center of it. That's why it's going to be funny. But yeah.
Oh man.
At what point are you too old to be doing stuff like that? I'm just kidding.
And I think I'm gonna keep that, man. That's a good one.
Cause I'm being myself, I'm acting just like your raggedy mom and your aunties. With them ashy cankles. This is how they act.
And she was serious.
Oh, she said that with her whole chest, 10 toes down.
And she was dead serious about it.
But let me ask you a question, right? Like I'm seeing this play out. Summertime. It's summertime now. You're at a barbecue, right? You're watching this.
Oh man.
Wonder Holland said we got to run it back a little more. Here you are, right?
I tell you what.
I'm just saying this is gonna be a sound drop for the show from now on.
I'm gonna put it on loop.
You're gonna put it on a loop.
Cause I'm being myself, I'm acting just like your raggedy mom and your aunties. With them ashy cankles. This is how they act. Cause I'm being myself, I'm acting just like your raggedy mom and your aunties. With them ashy cankles. This is how they act. Cause I'm being myself, I'm acting just like your.
All right.
Boy,
listen, man. Listen.
Sir. I'm just saying. I'm visualizing. You're at the family cookout or at the family reunion because it's summertime. And you know how you got them aunties that be in the corner sipping early in the morning. You know what I'm talking about. The aunties, your aunties are up in there doing what they do. And literally the conversation is conversating and somebody done already started doing what they do. I can see someone saying, I ain't one of your regular aunties with your ashy ankles. Don't play with me. She don't know who she dealing with.
Your raggedy mama and your aunties.
What is going on?
Ashy ankles. This is how they act.
All right, let's move on. Let's
yo,
move on because
yo.
we're going to be here all day with this. This don't make no
Wow.
kind of sense.
Oh man.
What
Yo,
else is going on?
yo,
Talk to me,
yo.
Goose.
Let's talk about Diddy.
Oh, come on.
Let's talk about only just a little bit.
Why we
because-
got to talk about Diddy?
Well, you know what? It's a crazy trial, and you got half the people saying, "Oh, he's going to get off," and you got the other half saying he's not going to get off.
What
And
camp are you part of?
a camp I don't care.
Camp
Number
I don't
one.
care?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
part of camp I don't care.
Camp I don't care.
But I know what I have to say kind of matters sometimes.
Yes.
I think, well, first of all, they only need 2 charges to stick.
Right.
So never mind all the other stuff that ain't true. Never mind Cassie, all that other stuff.
Never mind Cassie.
He's not on trial for what he did to Cassie.
It's disgusting what he did to
Oh,
Cassie.
it's very, very disgusting. But
That,
but that's not what he's on trial for. So
he should be.
I want to talk about Kid Cudi
Okay.
because I think the testimony about what happened with him is damaging. Okay, so let's just start. Let's start with what's the lady's name that was in there that was testifying yesterday? Capricorn Clark.
Okay.
So she talked about. She mentioned a few things.
Okay.
One, she claimed that Diddy blackballed her, right? And so the defense came out and said they produced a letter, a recommendation from Diddy that they said, I think they said it was from 2021 or 2022.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, Capricorn Clark said, that's not from 2021 or whatever year he said. I can't remember. But she said, it's not from that. That's from 2012 during the settlement. And so everybody's like, what settlement?
But see, so here,
You know?
but here's the thing though. You like this is the sensationalization that is happening in this space is wild to me. Like you literally are talking about kidnapping the aide, the plot of going after
Right.
Kid Cudi, and now we're gonna do this. Like what in what was the name of that show? Oh man, I hate when my brain does this. The Star show that had 50 Cent.
Power?
Yeah, what in the power is going on? Because
Yeah.
this right here
Yeah.
is literally, is it art imitating life or is
Listen.
life imitating art? Because this right here is wild business.
With everything that's coming out, man, and I said it prior to that because I heard a lot of this stuff way before. And to me, it's all alleged, but Diddy, if it's all true, he's a monster.
You think he was? Listen.
Diddy is a-
I didn't even really want to. I would remember when you said to me, "Yo, Mel, you've been following the trial." No, because it's triggering for me, right?
Yeah, right.
I don't do well in spaces where people are predators and people are abusers and they take power and use their power for evil, right? I don't do well in spaces like this, right? Because there's something inside of me that it just makes me nauseous, right? To know what these what were they calling them, sex off parties or freak off parties, whatever they were calling them, all of the stuff that was happening in these spaces is wild business. You mean to tell me you're spending over 72 hours with no sleep doing all these things?
Well, I hope what I'm about to play is not triggering for you.
Well, make sure you play it on the loudspeaker.
All right,
so
let me
the
play it
people
on the
live can
loudspeaker
hear what you
so
about
people
to
can
play.
hear it. All right, so I'm gonna cut the mic for 2 seconds just for folks on Instagram.
Now they're on the Facebook Live on another space.
All right, so if you're on another space, you may be able to hear or not hear us when I play these clips, but I'm gonna turn the mics off so that you can't hear the clips for those who can't. So here we go.
Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me.
And then,
There's nothing funny about that.
There's nothing funny
There's
about
nothing funny about that.
it. There's nothing. I apologize. I'm sorry.
Listen. This is so when I speak, right? When I go out and I speak in spaces, I always talk about elephants in rooms and predators, right? And I always talk about how we as families, meaning our own nucleus family, how we are sick because we allow predators in our nucleus families to stay present, knowing that they have harmed children, right? So someone like this is a prime example how society gave them keys to cities and named streets after him. He got honorary PhDs and all of this. All meanwhile, he's sitting there harming everybody around him. And because they're so afraid of what he could possibly do to them, they are silenced, right? And so this can translate across the board in any kind of scenario where you have families where their patriarch or the matriarch of the family is not well, right? So even hearing that and hearing somebody who literally is crying out, there's nothing funny about that at all.
Oh, no,
and we as
not.
a society have got to stop normalizing this type of behavior and seeing it as it's normally okay. And this ain't about you, Goose.
No, I know.
This
I know.
is just in
I
general. It is absolutely appalling, unacceptable. And the fact that people make memes about it, the fact that people turn around and use words like, oh no, Diddy and all this other nonsense, it's literally like you're sensationalizing the abuse. And it's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. I will die on that cross. It's disgusting.
Right. So
I hope he burns.
Yeah,
in life.
I think he's going to be.
I think hell would be a pleasant place for him.
I do believe he's going to be found guilty. I think again they only need two things to stick, and so yesterday the defense did file for a mistrial, and
really
the judge denied it because, so. The defense accused the prosecution of insinuating that Diddy had something to do with the destruction of fingerprints on the cocktail bottle that was involved in the fire on Kid Cudi's car.
Interesting.
And the other interesting thing about that, so actually not that particular moment, but there was another moment where Diddy and his security broke into his house.
Okay.
Right. And the presents were open and everything. So I believe Cassie gave Kid Cudi the heads up on it. He was on his way to kill you. He calls the police. So the officer, upon showing up, he notices this black Escalade, right? And it just, I guess police officers have this instinct or this feeling of what's going on around them when they're approaching a scene.
Yeah.
And I guess it was something odd about the SUV. So he didn't, stop it or do anything like that. He wanted to see what the crime was first. He goes inside. He sees all the presents unwrapped. He comes back outside. He sees the van coming up or driving down a hill. He takes the license plate. He runs the plates, and it's registered to Bad Boy Entertainment. So,
I mean, listen. For whatever it's worth, and this is kind of off topic, but it's on the same subject matter. Can we just give a shout out to the court sketching artists? Because some of these sketches are by far some of the most hilarious looking cartoon like characters that have been created.
Yeah.
I understand why, because of the severity and the level of violence that is being discussed and talked about. I can only imagine that the people involved on the outside, whether that's your jury, whether that's your staff members in the courtroom, they're going to need therapy. There's no way that you could be exposed to this amount of violence and not be triggered by it.
Now, what's crazy too? The crazy thing about it, a couple of things I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Right. One, I just don't get why all of this in terms of Diddy. You're a billionaire, or you were practically a billionaire. Whatever the amount of money you have, you got money coming out your ears. Mental illness is real. You got money coming out your ears, right?
Yeah.
You don't need to do any of that stuff.
Mental illness is real.
And, I just don't understand when you're on that level of success. You could do it. I mean, this guy has his own private jet. He got 3 or 4 mansions in various places, islands. All of his kids live in big houses. And it just makes no sense to me when it comes to that, because this guy's got all kinds of money and you don't have to do any of that. You can get and have anything you want just because of your status alone. and you're moving around like that. So I don't understand that. But the other thing I don't understand, and we can go ahead and respond to that before I say the next.
Because mental illness is real.
Yep.
Narcissism is a real thing,
Mhm.
right? So I of course am not a licensed psychologist, and so I can't diagnose anybody.
Mhm.
But what I can tell you is that the patterns and behaviors in which he has definitely exhibited, they scream that, right?
Mhm.
The next thing you have to remember, who was his mentor? Clive Davis,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
Quincy Jones. All these cats notoriously were known in the industry for scrupulous things,
Mhm.
right? So at what point do we say, all right, show me your friends, I'm gonna show you who you are?
Right.
I do believe that this didn't start just with him. They created a monster that was left unchecked. That monster became too much,
Mhm.
right? And so there was a form of distancing that took place. But if you pay attention to the mannerisms and how he went about business and he moved, he threw his money around as a silencing tool,
Mhm.
right? That is something you're taught to do. I always go back to that one clip where Whitney Houston is handing Brandy that note, right? Get away.
Mhm.
If you notice,
Yep.
there's a pattern
Yep,
that
I
has
remember
happened, right? People, we can point fingers and say it's this, it's that, it's this, it's that. It's the culture,
Right.
right, that has bred this. So I want to say to you, and I have this question for you, Goose, right? As
Mhm.
somebody who has been around the industry for a while, right? I know things have changed because now we're in a different culture. We're in a different time, right? We have the Me Too movement. We have a whole lot of things that are now happening where people are being outed in ways that they've never been outed before
Mhm.
because social media is allowing for this to transpire, right?
Yep.
So that's real-time knowledge happening. Here's my question. If this did not exist, let's say the Me Too movement did not exist.
Yep.
Let's say the internet was not what the internet is today, right? Do you believe that we would even be having this conversation about Diddy? I don't think so.
Oh no, I think if it wasn't for social media, period,
I don't think we would.
there are quite a few things. I think Karen Reed would be in trouble.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Diddy probably wouldn't be in jail. You know, I think social media is the key to a lot of things, man, and responsible for a lot of changes that we're dealing with today.
Yeah.
You know,
but that
good
but
and bad.
Good and bad, right? I mean, it's like, it's the devil you know, the devil you don't know. What do you deal with, right? I always go back to, and I'm going to say this, and I think that there becomes a level of responsibility that we have to have as a society and as a community, right?
Yeah.
We have allowed ourselves to idolize individuals that are not well.
Right.
And we have normalized behaviors and mannerisms and calling things culture solely so that you are seen for the likes, for the views.
Mhm.
I'm going to do the next most outlandish, ratchet thing I possibly humanly could think of doing just so that you're going to pay attention to me and you're going to like me.
Right.
That's illness.
Yeah,
if you don't
yeah,
know what illness is, that is an example of illness, bro.
Like my guy Will Downing said when he was on the show. What did he say? It's just a heart.
That part.
It's just a heart.
That part.
At the end of the day, it's just a heart.
That part.
You know?
It's a thumb. What you doing for a thumb?
You know?
People do wild things for
Yeah,
thumbs.
Right.
That really didn't come out right, but you know what I meant, dang it. You know what I meant. You know what I meant.
And you know what? I wasn't even thinking that. So to know that your head was in that space.
Because of these sound bites from Diddy got me all jacked up. We got to go somewhere positive, please. I need a
happy birthday to me.
Oh,
happy birthday to me.
Stop. That's not funny.
I'm not laughing.
You don't have to. That is so not funny.
No, I know it's not funny.
Not okay.
But anyways, no, it's not. I agree with you. I'm not against you on that at all. Also, let me just let the folks know we got Anthony David live at 11:30.
I love that.
Okay. And also, we're going to talk some Black health with my guy, DJ Sensei. That's coming up at 12 noon. We're going to get into all that. So make sure you hang tight for that.
I love that. I love it.
And
I love when we have yes.
Yeah, me too. Me too, because we could talk about all kinds of different things.
And we
with
learn
them.
new stuff.
Yeah, we learn new stuff, and they're human. They're not just celebrity stars or whatever, you know.
Which
they're
I think
human.
is super dope too.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yep.
Because he did stuff with India Irie.
Yeah, he's
Didn't
pretty
he?
popular. People, especially on the reggae scene, you know.
Wait, but did you know he was a Gulf War veteran?
I didn't know that.
Did you not? Yeah.
Oh no, wait a minute. Did I know that? No, I didn't know that.
He was
I
a
didn't know
paratrooper for the 82nd Airborne.
Yeah,
That's what's up.
So
Thank
that's
you
gonna
for
be
your
good.
service,
It's gonna
sir.
be a good, interesting interview with Anthony David, 11:30 this morning, and he's got a new record too. So we're gonna let folks get a listen of that.
Okay.
And
I'm here for all that.
and all that good stuff.
Yes,
for
sir.
For sure.
So Karen Reed.
Yeah, let's talk about Karen Reed. So that Karen Reed trial, man, nothing's changed. Judge Bev is a you know what? She's for the prosecution, and she shows it every day in court. And the thing with Judge Bev, right?
Yeah.
You know, she, you know, her overrulings and sustain is always against who? The defense.
Mm-hmm.
She's for the prosecution, and she's against the defense.
I'm still so surprised that the Commonwealth hasn't accused her yet. Like I'm just being honest. I mean, it's too deep into the game at this point that it would just be egg all over the face.
And everyone knows her ties.
Yeah, but,
you know,
but that's what's so wild about how that this was even allowed to even transpire. It to me it just it illuminates a space where we're seeing corruption real time. We're having real time examples of just blatant disrespect for law and for the power abuse that
the
of
abuse
power,
of power
that has
People
happened
in
that are
politics.
but not even just politics, even in the police space.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I say this all the time. My hats go off to anybody who works within the realms of the police, the fire department, EMS, people that are in social work, right? Because you are running into the flames.
Mm-hmm.
You are running into the danger, right? While everyone's running out, you're going in, right? So there has to be some type of something inside of you that allows for you to be able to do that, right? So I respect people. I always want to say that before I go into the next piece.
Mm-hmm.
But I do not respect when someone takes the oath and says that I'm going to do this on the behalf of the Commonwealth, on the behalf of a town, on the behalf of the people. And then you turn around and you literally are looking out for your boys. You're fixing tickets. You're covering up murders. You're plotting out stuff. And then you're forgetting that technology is so magnificent that you're telling on yourself. Your steps aren't matching.
The thing about this case.
Wait. And why y'all have to do Snoopy like that? I say this every single time I'm in the studio. Why do you have to rehome and then on a live Snoopy?
Yeah, they did Snoopy.
They did Snoopy wrong.
They did him wrong.
And that's what I named the dog. I named the dog Snoopy. That's not his real name. I don't know what the dog's real name is, but it's like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
The crazy thing about this whole case is that, that one, the Commonwealth can't keep up with the lies.
No.
And they really think that the people of Massachusetts are stupid. They really do.
Oh yeah, no,
because some
absolutely.
of the stuff they're putting out there now, I don't know if you saw this, but the guy who took the stand yesterday, I can't remember his name.
Okay.
But he took the stand and he did some demonstration of the car, the Lexus backing into his arm, and he had this blue paint on the car which got on his arm, and he used that to demonstrate what happened. But it just looked like something that I would do. And I'm not a professional in that field. And they're mocking him all over the internet. Check this out.
Let's have the car drive into me. I did this at very low speeds. And you'll see, and we'll throw this from two different angles, scuffing on the taillight. Here's a picture of Miss Reed's vehicle on the right-hand side.
Did you see the guy threw himself to the ground? He ran into the car and threw himself to the ground.
That's comical. Like
that's the whole trial. The whole trial is comical. It really is. I'm telling you.
I'm telling you, after the first time, the Commonwealth should have stepped away and reevaluated and went after the correct people, right? It's not her. She can't be the fall person.
We're not stupid.
But it's not even about
Commonwealth. We're not stupid.
But it's not even about stupidity at this point. It's about facts, right? I say this all the time. I love numbers, right? Because numbers do not lie. Numbers will always tell us the true story, as long as they're not manipulated by humans, right? So there are so many pieces that literally you've had experts that have come in, forensics people that have come in, that have scrubbed the data, that have gone in to the cloud and have found in the cloud where deleted messages were. They found in the cloud where literally things that are showing from your Apple iWatch, from your phone. How do you turn a phone off if you're dead? Make it make sense. There's so many pieces to this that make absolutely no sense.
Not only that, but it was discovered that he took so many steps. I think it was 85 steps, which equated to a certain amount of feet that put him inside the house.
Yes.
And they pretty much told on themselves when it came to that. I mean, again, I have an issue with what they're presenting, and it's to the point where they really think the people of Massachusetts are stupid and that we'll buy anything. They could tell us anything, and we're supposed to believe it. And truth be told, there are a lot of people like that. They do believe any and everything they hear on TV. If Goose tell them, or if you tell them, nah, that's not what they said on the news.
Sounds like the crypto story.
Right. That's not what they said on the news. You know, the news can be fabricated too, right? You do understand that.
It can be manipulated.
You know?
That is true.
So yeah, that whole trial is just, every day is something funny, and every witness that the Commonwealth presents, the defense digs so many holes and discovers so many lies. I don't think there's one witness that was on that stand yet that said something truthful, and the defense didn't pull it out of him. Not one witness. And that's how good the trial is going for the defense.
But I think it's a waste of money.
Oh, it's big time. Big time.
You know, I just think it is such a waste of money that I'm really confused as to why the Commonwealth thought this was a good idea. And I think it's literally to save face. But the problem is that the corruption is just becoming more and more blatant.
And that's what you have to understand. You got to understand the people in power. All right. From the DA's office, that guy, I can't remember the big guy's name, but he's a major part of the cover up, because if you look back at some of the things he said in the media to defend even people like Proctor, who was fired, you go back and you look at, he kind of recanted a lot of those things, because, you know, the stuff he said has already been disproven. You know, it's bad. I mean, and when it's all said and done, you can watch it on TV, because there's going to be a movie. I promise you.
Well, you know, and rightfully so. There's going to be a movie. There's going to be book deals. There's going to be interviews. There's going to be a whole lot. And I hope she recoups everything that she's lost. As far as I know, that most of her legal team is pro bono, but I also know
for now, yeah.
Yes, right. But I also know that she's had to come out of pocket to pay for the war room. She's staying in a hotel closer into Boston. She had to sell her house. Like, there's a lot of moving parts and pieces to this that just are not cool. Right.
Yeah.
And here's the thing too, right? If we're going to be completely transparent, again, we're going to talk about an elephant in the room. Had this been a black person without, the OJ Dream Team, it would have been done in the first trial.
Oh, no doubt.
It would have been done in the first trial, and there would not
You'd
have
been in jail.
Oh, absolutely. Rotting away for the rest of my life, because the reality is that you're guilty already before you've even been tried, because of the fact of how society views you.
Correct, though.
I'm just saying, right? And then you add the layer to that of it being law enforcement, of the sensationalizing of all of that happening real time. It's wild business. Wild business.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
So that's what's going on with Karen Reed. Let's talk a little bit of crypto before we talk to Anthony David, who will be online with us shortly. He's got a new record out. I'm going to talk about that and pay a bill real quick.
Unorthodox radio from Boston and beyond. Heat981fm.com and iHeartStation.
Yeah, so we got Anthony David 11:30. We got DJ Sensei at 12 noon. We're going to talk about his health, man. He's going through something, and I'll let him talk to you about it. So we got that coming up at 12 noon. And right now, let's get into crypto. Let's talk about Donald
Yes.
Trump. Let's talk about these stocks, because let me tell you something. We've been saying it for a long time. And one of the things that I could tell you, from the other side, that people have said, man, what are you talking about when you say the greatest transferring in wealth in history? Because that sounds crazy, don't it?
Yeah.
It sounds crazy, but it's true. The greatest transfer of wealth in history is going down, and it's starting this summer in less than 60 days.
Yeah.
Things are going to get crazy. Things are actually already
Real
getting
time.
crazy.
Yeah, it's happening in real time.
In real time,
Yeah.
depending on what you hold in cryptocurrency. People
Yeah.
are making millions like right now.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
are making money in crypto.
But I always say this, and I think it's important, right? Is that when I think about our community as a whole, I think about things that don't resonate with us, right? So what resonates is we're told. I heard someone say this the other day, and I think it's interesting, right? Which is, if you look at where Black people excel, right, which is going to be in sports, entertainment, singing, dancing, things of that nature, right?
Mhm.
You would think, why is that, right? Is it just because genetically we're inclined to this? And somebody said something that I was like, dang. The fact of the matter was that when the slave masters were looking to be entertained, it was the slaves that had that skill set that were given favor.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So this was embedded in us in a way that literally people don't even realize where the root of all this comes from, right? So when we think about financial stability and financial wealth, we've always been left out of that conversation, whether it was through real estate, whether it was through stocks, whether it was through life insurance, whether it was understanding all of these sorts of things, right? We had an amazing individual that came in this weekend that spoke about exactly this. And why is that important? Because you are absolutely spot on, Goose. We are currently in the midst of watching trillions, not billions, not millions, but trillions of dollars going in, flooding a market that is coming from its inception, that is happening real time.
And there's a particular guy that not everyone likes. His name is President Trump. Not everyone likes him. But he said it a long time ago. Actually, he said it just again recently, a few weeks ago. He says, you better buy some stocks in crypto, because what's gonna happen is going to be historic. And it is. And the reason why is you have, like she just said, trillions of dollars coming into the markets. And it is going to
revolutionize. It's revolutionary.
It's revolutionary, but it's going to affect the stock market, and it's going to affect the cryptocurrency market in a positive way.
But it's also going to affect the housing market. There's no market that is not going to be impacted by how this transition is taking place. And here we always have this conversation, and you always go, Mel, you go too high, Mel, you go too high. But I do believe that people are intelligent enough to pick up what I'm cooking. And what I'm cooking here right now is I want people to understand that our grandparents, our parents were locked out of any opportunity for wealth, because we were told that the American dream was, if you bought the house, if you worked at a company for 30 plus years of your life, that you would be able to retire, have the white picket fence, and you would have the American dream. The reality is that dream no longer exists. There is no middle class the way we know it. So how do you, as an individual, make sure you survive the new system that is coming out? So the first thing they're going to do is make you fear it. How do I do that? I'm going to make it sound 10 times more complicated than it actually is, right? That's the first piece that I'm going to do. The second piece I'm going to do is I'm going to disparage it. I'm going to tell you that this is fake. It's a fraud. You're going to lose your money. Only bad people do this. You want no part of this. That's going to be the next piece to it, right? Now, what am I doing and why am I doing this? I'm doing these things because I want you to use me as the middleman, so I can continue to make money off you the exact same way I did your grandparents and your parents with the stock market. Think about what I'm saying. BlackRock, Grayscale, Fidelity, Schwab, all these organizations have made billions, if not trillions of dollars off the backs of working class people with 401k investments, with personal investment accounts, because they told you, the consumer, You weren't intelligent enough to learn how to move your own money. So you need me. And not only do you need me, I'm going to take your money and I'm going to take a cut off the top, because that's how I'm going to make my money. And what we've been saying for like almost 3 years now, Goose.
It's been a minute.
Yo, it's been a while. Is that you don't actually have to do that. In fact, you can learn how to control your money. And there's ways to go about this. And I want people to realize and recognize you don't have to be afraid of the verbiage. Blockchain, utility, ISO 2022. All of these words and terminology sound scary, because I'm going to keep it 100 and I'm going to keep it real. I remember, Goose, I'll never forget this. I said this on Saturday to somebody. When you came in and you said, yo, you need to get into crypto. My first exact words were to you was, Goose, I don't have thousands of dollars to do this. How am I going to do this? And you said, Mel, you don't need thousands of dollars. There are certain projects that just make sense, right? And what's even more wild is that the infrastructure in the system, literally real time, is doing it right in front of you, under your nose. And I ask the question all the time to people is, where are you going to land on the side of this side of history when your kids ask you, why didn't you do it? Or your grandkids.
And with that being said, right, there's this particular project. I'm not going to announce it on the air. I'm not.
That day is over.
Yeah. But I am going to put together another Zoom. I'm going to do it today, right? You can sign up for it, and I'll tell you during the Zoom what the project is. But, one of the keys, and I'm not saying if you come in late, you can't make money.
Right.
You can make money in crypto now. It's not too late.
Right.
But getting in early on some projects, oh my God. And
you can make serious money.
There's a project that I'm telling you, oh my God. But I'll tell you off mic.
Is it one that was on the board on Saturday?
No,
something different.
No. This is a project that I'll tell you off mic.
But you know what's
I'll tell you off mic.
Fair
enough.
But
just to finish my point,
yeah,
there are projects that you can jump on that you can spend a little bit of money.
Yep.
And make $1 million. And when I say a little bit of money, let me just give you an example, right?
Yep.
$200. Would you believe a particular person made $200,000 on it? That sounds unreal.
Well, it's funny you say
but,
that is real, but that's real. What
that's real in crypto.
Real business.
That's real in crypto, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's a project now that's up 1,942%, right? If you had your money in there for 12 months, oh my God.
Nobody has returns like that.
Okay. You can't get that type of return with a bank.
No, absolutely.
So and that's just one project. There are many. Now, don't get me wrong, right? There are thousands of cryptocurrencies that exist. With the regulations coming, guess what? A lot of them are going away. A lot of them aren't going to survive the regulations, which is why you should take the time to educate yourself any way possible.
Absolutely.
Because it ain't going nowhere.
No.
It's here to stay.
Absolutely.
And I'll just say one more thing, Mel. You know what's happening on July 14th. The ISO blockchain goes live. So every bank in this country is going to be on this blockchain starting this summer.
Yep. And that's called the Fed Now.
And in November, it'll be global, because by then they all really have to be in compliance, right? So you're talking about the whole world here switching, but the changing of how we use money.
Yes,
is happening right now.
It's real.
And
it's real good.
It'll never be the same after July 14th. And that's if they don't move the date again, because originally it's supposed to be March 14th and they moved it to July because all the banks weren't ready.
Wait, so let's just say this, right? Think about every time, we're launching into what's called Web 3.0. Most people, if you ask them right now, what is Web 3.0? I need to know. Tell me what Web 3.0 is, right? I'm going to back it up. And I've talked about this on air before, but we have new people watching. We have new people listening. So it's worth taking 5 seconds to do this. Web 1.0 was when they introduced the internet itself. This was when Brian Gumbel was on Good Morning America. You can find the clip on YouTube.
Not Brian Gumbel.
And he goes, What's this World Wide Web thing? Why am I going to send an email to somebody when I can pick up a phone and I can call them? Why would I do these things? This makes no sense, right? And nobody was really understanding why this was an important priority, right? Perfect. Now, that was the introduction. This is when you had the dial-up. This is when you went through AOL. This is when you had the ding, ding, ding.
I had AOL.
And then you go into some chat room and you meet somebody from Oklahoma, and the next thing you know, boop, you get kicked off, and not everyone could do and be on the internet, right? Cool. There's an actual company here in Massachusetts called Akamai Technologies in Kendall Square. Akamai Technologies turns around and finds the algorithm, which is the basic number equation in math, that the world can all be on the internet at the same time and nobody gets kicked off, right? Because now we all have handheld micro little computers in our pockets that are cell phones. Perfect. Wonderful. 2.0. 2.0 was us. That's where the bank book was retired and online banking was introduced, where the debit card was brought into play. You're now told you don't have to stand in line on your lunch break on Wednesday to cash your check. In fact, what you can do is trust us to insert your money Thursday at 4 a.m. into your bank account easily, no problem. That's 2.0. 2.0 got you used to using a debit card instead of carrying cash. 2.0 made sure that you understood that you could Zelle somebody money. 2.0 shade at Apple Pay. You, sir, are a huge conduit and lover of what? Apple Pay. That is 2.0. So what's 3.0? 3.0 is where cash is no longer king, because cash is going to become obsolete. That's wild business. But they have been training us to understand how many people really walk around with cash on them.
Right.
I mean, really think about what I'm saying. How many people today, right now, if you said, oh, give me a couple of dollars in cash, a lot of people will tell you, oh, I don't have any cash on me, but I can Zelle you. I can send it through, one of those Cash App apps or whatever the case may be. They don't carry cash. Why? Because we're being conditioned over a decade to no longer carry cash. So now what's going to happen? There's going to be a transfer in how the banking system operates. And what's amazing about this is this. Right now, we've talked about this. If you were right now under the current SWIFT system, which is the banking system, bought a house in LA, cash, you're going to wire that money to that account to the individual in LA. It will take 8 to 10 business days for that wire to clear. With how the new system is set up, it will happen instantaneously. So that $1 million+ will show up in your bank account within something like 0.3, like it's within minutes. That is not what happens today. So there's so many pieces to this that make this amazing, but it's also scary because it's change and people don't like change. So the question really becomes, are you going to get left behind because the train is going to leave, whether you're on it or not?
Right.
You're writing, but I'm just saying there's something to be said about it. It's exciting because we have an opportunity as a community to be in front of something and to win. If we can pop bottles at a club, we can go and we can buy Gucci belts and Louis Vuitton bags and Chanel bags and all these things. Then it's also, you can take that same exact amount of energy and learn about things that can benefit your kids. How many more GoFundMes do we need to have? That's a real thing.
It's a great time that is about to happen in history. That's the bottom line.
And I want to be on the right side of it.
And I don't mind being called crazy. It's okay. I take it with like a grain of salt. I mean, it's good. I think that a lot of people are going to benefit. A lot of people are going to be happy. There's also going to be a lot of people
that are running,
trying to come in at the last minute. And what's going to happen? You don't have enough information. You're going to get locked out. You're going to, all kinds of things are going to happen that you should be prepared for, but you're not, because a lot of folks do the following.
Yep.
And
they're going to come in at 200.
And it's okay.
They're going to come in at 200, 300. And it's like Bitcoin, right?
Right.
Look at Bitcoin. If you go back to when Bitcoin was first introduced back in 2012, when it was like $200, $100, it was small money compared to today, right? People again, the concept of something being in the ether, in the cloud, and tangibly, you don't hold it. So that was such a foreign concept for people that no one could really get behind it. Fourth, hence why somebody was like, yo, anybody buy me 2 pizzas, I'll give you 200 Bitcoin. Do you know how much 200 Bitcoin is worth now today, Goose?
A lot of dough.
My man's, that's we're talking like almost what, like 200-300 million?
A lot of dough.
A lot of dough. It's wild business. So you realize that, like everything else, either you get in front of it and you learn it and you understand it, or you're going to get left behind. And the question you need to ask yourself is, what side of history do you want to be on? I don't know about y'all, but I want my children's children to be set. I learned this weekend about things that I need to make sure are prepared for my family to ensure generational wealth. The disparity that happens in our community is ridiculous and it's unnecessary. And the way things are moving, we do not need or have to live this way, because what the equalizer becomes is the fact, like we said earlier, social media, TikTok. You know how much stuff I've learned off of TikTok, dude?
I mean, that's one of the reasons why
they
want
keep trying
to get rid of it, because, you know, it's informative. People, and like I said before, you know, social media, if it weren't for social media, a lot of folks' eyes would not be open. Let's be real about it. As bad as, you know, social media can be, it is also good in ways, because we're informed about a lot of things that normally we would not be informed about.
Transfer of knowledge.
You know, so
Absolutely.
TikTok is one of the reasons why they want to get rid of it, because TikTok's out of all social medias. There's so much information on TikTok, is ridiculous.
But it's dope. You know? But you can go down a rabbit hole.
Now let me also say that you do have to fact check everything.
Yep.
And I do that on everything that I look at, because it's important. And I find oftentimes, or not as often, that, you know, a lot of the stuff, if it's not true, there's something going on along those lines. You know?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of truth to it. But yeah, you know, social media is very informative. It can also be bad, though.
Well, I mean, yeah, because then you're gonna be with the aunties and the ashy ankles, right? I mean, like everything, you know, you have to take things in moderation. You have to take things with a grain of salt. There are things that I've sent to you that were just so sensationally amazing. You're like, yo, Mo, that's not real. And my heart's broken, dashed. Why? Because I was already counting my shekels.
Yeah.
And I knew I was a millionaire that night.
Yeah.
You know,
and I remember that. And I remember that. And here's what I want to say too, especially when it comes to crypto or just about anything with social media. Now, you have influencers who
are being paid,
have a very large following. Yes. Right? Whenever you have someone that has a large following, here comes the scammers. Scammers want to act like they're that person. And then what they do is they go in your inbox, or whenever that influencer is on, they'll record their live and they'll present it as if they're that influencer. You have to be careful.
Yes.
And what identified it to me that was fake is the writing on the actual screen.
Okay.
Because one thing I could tell you about Calvin Hill, who I do follow.
Do you think it was AI generated?
No, I don't.
Or do you think it was manipulated?
I think it was a scammer. It was a scammer. It was just a scammer out there, because what they do, they go in your inbox, they pretend they're that person,
right?
And you're like, oh wow, this is such and such. He just inboxed me, and you're excited because you think it's the actual person.
It was the messaging I was excited about. The idea that he was saying what that particular project was going to be doing.
Right.
I was like, high five. Yes.
Right. But and now because you're not that particular person to actually, okay, let me respond to this. This is dope. You know, but had you responded to that, he would have probably contacted you.
Yeah, I would have been in trouble.
And then you think that's him, and then you're talking, you should invest in this or send your money here, and then you're done. You're done after.
You know, it's interesting you say that. I think that's a really good segue to talk about how you need to. Somebody said to me on Saturday, so Mel, I just go on Amazon and order my cold storage wallet, right? And I was like, no, like real quick, no, right? And why I responded that way is you always are sitting in the back of my head when I think about cold storage wallet,
right?
Because when I ordered my first one, I did exactly that. I went onto Amazon and I ordered my cold storage wallet, and you immediately told me to return it because I was not thinking what you had brought to the table, which is brilliant, which is when you buy your cold storage wallet from a vendor like Amazon, for example, you're buying it from a third-party vendor, which means that third-party vendor has the capability and the ability to go into that fob and do whatever they need to do on the back end of it to ensure that they can gain access to your wallet at any point. So now you're thinking you're buying an actual fob from the factory. You go and you set it up. You set up all your passwords. You do all the things you need to do. And then you go and you load it.
Right.
And then one day you wake up and say, let me go check on what's going on in here. And it's all gone. Right. So you are absolutely spot on. If you're going to do anything, make sure you deal directly with the factories. I cannot stress that enough. And I would love, if you don't mind, Goose, real quickly, if you could share the story of the friend that you had that had actually someone take advantage of them.
Yeah.
In that space. I think that's a really good lesson.
Yeah. And this had to do with Trust Wallet, which is a hot wallet, which is an online wallet, a digital wallet online, not a physical wallet. So, which I don't like. I don't like Trust at all. I don't like Trust at all.
Kind of like how I feel about Coinbase.
I think it's a difficult wallet. I don't like it. So yeah, so the story is, the individual, I won't say his name, but he lost about, I want to say at least $60,000 because he didn't know how to get his money out off the wallet, right? And so he went to someone for help, and yeah, they helped him all right.
They helped him. Money.
They helped him right out of his money, and it was that simple. I don't know the exact process that he went about. And going to them and how they did it. Obviously, he let them in the wallet.
Sure.
Obviously, he gave them the password and addresses and things like that. That's the only way they can get your money. So education in this field is key because
people can rob you.
You got to know what you're doing.
Absolutely.
And I wish I had the clip loaded, but I believe it happened in New York or somewhere. There was this crypto investor who was kidnapped.
What?
Right? They held him down for I'll play it for you later. They held him down for at least a week or a few weeks, and they tortured him
to get his password.
To get his password to his Bitcoin, which he ended up giving up. And after he gave it up, they went to go get the computer. He left. He's bleeding, and at that point, the individuals got caught.
Was he able to recapture and gain back all his stuff? Or
I don't think they ever got it because it happened that quick.
It's gone into the ether.
No. I don't think they have it. They never got it. So they were captured prior to getting it.
Okay.
And I don't even know if he gave them the real password. But you got to be safe out here. And
these crypto streets are serious,
no doubt. And every person has a right to defend themselves.
Oh, we about to. I love talking about that.
And the gun laws have lightened up,
even in the Commonwealth,
everywhere.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Now there are some specifics to some of the laws, especially in Massachusetts. You better follow them.
Yep.
Or you can end up
in
jail
in trouble
with a gun.
Yep.
So understand that.
Yep.
So every person has a right to
bear
arms and to defend themselves
and their property.
And I don't even want to talk about.
We're not gonna talk about the Second Amendment.
If it was me,
let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. What?
Let me just say,
what would you do? I
just feel like somebody gonna die. Straight up, somebody gonna die. It's either gonna be me or him, but somebody gonna die.
But in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the law is that if there is a way for you to escape without using force,
right,
you're supposed to do that, right? You do know that.
I do know that.
Still stands, right? And people, it's very different than a stand your ground.
In the Commonwealth, you damn near got to run in a corner and be trapped like a rat.
That part.
Before you can even shoot them.
And then if you can't tunnel through the wood and you have no ways to saw something out, then maybe, and still you're going to probably still get processed and arrested and all that while that's all being sussed out and whatever that looks like.
Right.
But, I do believe that we have rights that we don't use to our advantage because of fear, right? And here's the thing. I say this all the time. Guns don't do people. It's the people holding the gun using it that do.
Right.
Right. And so if that gun is sitting there for 20 years, it's just going to rust.
Right.
It's not gonna do nothing. So I don't know.
All right. So
about that time.
So we have a special guest online. I'm gonna bring him up real quick, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for the one and only, my man, Anthony David. How you doing, man?
Hello, Steve. What's going on, man?
Good morning. Good morning.
Everything's good on our side of town, man. Now, where are you? You're in New York. You're in Atlanta. Where are you today?
I'm in Atlanta. Oh, yeah, I'm in Atlanta, right up the road. You know,
okay.
Down here in East Point, south side.
Got you. So, so you got a new record out, and why don't you tell us about this new song and what have you been up to all this time, man? It's been a long time, or hasn't it been a long time?
Well, it's been a long time for a full project. And me and Algebra, we just last year was it last year? Might be, yeah. We hit #1 actually with our rendition of BB and CC Winans Heaven. So we've been out, been putting some music out here and there, but I haven't come with a full project in a while. So this is me gassing up the truck to get the delivery ready.
Okay, so
gassing up the truck.
So when you say Algebra, you talking about the artist?
Yeah, Algebra Bassett. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, all right. You two are an item, or?
No, that's the homie, man.
Okay, all right. I just got to ask, man.
Why you always got to be agitating the water?
Listen, no, I'm familiar with Algebra, man.
No, she's great.
That's dope. Two great minds together, man. So
we started out with Forevermore some years ago. We had some success with that, and then we're always around in each other's orbit. So I had this idea actually some years ago to do a remake of Heaven, and I hit her up. We got it done, and actually about a couple years after that, because we did it actually during the pandemic, and then it got released maybe 2 years ago. It took a little while, and turns out we hit the top of the gospel charts with it.
That's dope.
That's what's
dope.
up.
That's dope. So now, so this is a part of an album you got coming out, or tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah. So the single is For the Longest Time. That's what we just put out, and I actually just over talking with radio folks like yourself, I feel like that might be the name of the title of the album, because it seems to be the theme has been, you haven't been out for the longest time. So I didn't realize that. So yeah, that's probably the name of the project. I hate calling things albums, because I listen to playlists, and the way I think about releasing music is more like a playlist, because I dip and dab in different genres and whatnot. So I'm looking at it like I'm releasing a new playlist.
Wow. It's been a long time. And I know so Mel has a show here where she plays a lot of Caribbean music, and I'm sure she's got 1,000 questions. I can see her grinning over there.
Just a little bit. How are you? Good morning. Thank you for joining us. I love it when, we have artists that can stop in and bless us with some influence as far as who they are. One of the things, first, I want to make sure I'm understanding this. You are a veteran, is that correct?
Yeah, that keeps coming up. That's funny. That didn't even come out that much when I came out, but
yeah. So I say that because my baby boy, he is in active duty. He is deployed currently on his second deployment. He's coming home soon, hopefully, God willing. And so I just wanted to thank you for your service. I always think that is really important for us to acknowledge. And you're like 82nd Airborne, like you jumping out.
Yeah.
Like, wait a second. How are your knees? Let's talk about your knees for a second. No, sir, let me stop. So I'm curious, how did you
end up discussing that with our with our government?
Fair enough. So I'm curious. I would love to hear, how does someone, right? Because gospel going into the Caribbean space, those two genres definitely do not like collide. They don't even kind of parallel. I mean, music is music, right? But when I think about, that space, I do not see gospel always being in the forefront or that being the transition. So I would love to hear from you how that happened and what that looked like.
I mean, I'm not a gospel artist. I ended up doing, something that's within our culture. And I guess that's what it is. I'm choosing, and I am music is music. That's what I'm on. So if that's why I was mentioning the playlist thing earlier, is like, I like different genres of music. I try to touch on all of them throughout my career. That's kind of what I've always done. And if I happen to have success with one or another, then I guess that's how it shows up. So yeah, the most recent one was a gospel song, you know what I'm saying?
But it's, you know, sometimes we can get pigeonholed, right? Really, right? And it seems you're very diverse, and I like that. And I'm just curious, are you going to be touching other genres? Are you going to go into like a neo soul next? Is it, you know, if we're thinking playlists, I mean, I have a very eclectic style of music. I could be, you know, heavy hardcore rap 1 second, and the next minute I've got India Irie playing. Like it, you never know where I'm landing. And so I'm curious, are you exploring all these areas? What does that look like?
That's funny you mentioned NDRE because that's, I mean, to tell my story, that's who I came out with. So if I was already pigeonholed, which I sort of am, it would be neo soul. You know what I mean? Which I don't mind that. I don't even mind the title. I think it's a cool little title. That's where I came out. You know what I mean? And within that, I feel like that neo soul. That's what I like about the title is it allows you to touch a bunch of things. It's spiritual. It's lyrical, it's thoughtful, and it can touch on anything from blues, which I do, to gospel, to reggae. You know, I grew up listening to 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 um to obviously the Stevies and all that, and the Frankie, you know, Frankie Beverly, which is funny because I consider Barris Hammond to be the Frankie Beverly of Jamaica. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, Barris Hammond, but
he's huge.
He's huge. I mean, you can't. So I'm West, you know, as West Indian, Barris represents to me the old heads at the barbecue. And white plastic chairs. And sipping. No, for real.
Why you gotta do them like that though?
Because that's really
that's what Frankie Beverly is too.
You know what I know.
That's what Barris Hammond does. And as a kid, you're like, oh man, I don't want to listen to this. I want to listen to Buju Banton. Like, why are we listening to this? But now, as I've gotten older, I've learned to appreciate,
of course,
how Barris handles himself. He is a true artisan in what
he's
he
definitely
does.
A classic artist.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. And so I can appreciate why and how that influence has impacted how you know perceive music and you give it to us. So
we're all influenced by it. I mean, Jasmine Sullivan, "Need You Bad." That's a reggae influence tune. Coco, what's her name? Coco something.
Coco Jones.
Yeah, on her album, she's got the joint with Bob Marley's son or Lauren's son or grandson, Bob Marley's grandson. That, you know, we're all influenced by each other, and I think it's been coming out in different facets and ways for a long time.
Yeah. So how you feel about I would say like the state of music and also like streaming. I know a lot of artists complain about the streaming because you don't get as much money from the streaming as when before streaming. So how do you feel? Where do you stand when it comes to that?
Well, it's like most things. There's some good and some bad. Obviously, the money sucks, but the beautiful thing about streaming is, you know, I come from the era before that, and like I used to license records over to the UK and Europe through different licensing companies, and the way that they would have to decide if they're going to do a deal with you was if they can figure out if they can sell enough CDs, because they're going to have to print them and find the space for it. With streaming and with that type of distribution, for instance, I went to Brazil like 2 years ago because I found out that Forevermore has a line dance over there. I only found that out through the algorithm and through the what do you call it? Those statistics.
Yeah.
And I noticed.
Metadata.
Yeah. Say it again.
The metadata.
Exactly. And so I found that out through looking at through the metadata, and I realized, oh wow, why is it playing so heavy in Brazil? Then somebody tagged me in Brazil through social media. I heard y'all talking about that earlier, and I saw this line dance. And I'm like, where's that at? You know what I mean? Started talking to people through that. You know, so you can communicate and reach people because they don't have to pay the price to listen to your music. They could just listen and decide if they like it just off of the streaming. But also because they didn't buy it, you don't always, get the direct money from that sale or whatever. So there's access that you could get sometimes that you would have never got. And then there's the other side to it. I like the access, so I'll take the good with the bad.
Okay. All right. So who's some of the there's a lot of different artists out. Like who are you listening to right now? Who's in your in your player on your playlist?
Repertoire.
I keep it's crazy. It's this girl with this song, Stingy. You know that song?
Oh yeah, that's my girl, Jane Hancock.
Yeah, man. I'm sorry.
That's a dope record.
Yeah.
That's a dope record, man. We R&B vibing here, of course.
Bro, I was listening. It's just funny. I had a show a couple of weeks ago when that song, like the clip was dropping. I listened to the clip all the way home because I had left sound check. There was City Winery here. Left sound check, listening to it in the car. Jumped in the shower with the YouTube, the Bluetooth speaker, so I could listen to that clip over and over, and drove back listening to that one clip of the song. When I get into a song, I get obsessed. You know what I'm saying? And so that's one. What's this dude's name? Mutt. I like his
Leon Thomas.
Yeah, I suck at people's names, man.
I had the same problem. Don't feel
You know,
bad.
it's funny. It's funny you say that because
whatchamacallit?
Music today. No. You know what? That's what a lot of folks, because music today, right? Today's music, you like the song and you don't know who the artist is.
That's why I like the playlist concept.
And I only know it because I play it here on the radio, so I kind of gotta know who I'm playing.
Yeah.
Just being out in the streets on a regular, and I hear music, especially when it comes to the hip. I don't know who's who, but I like a lot of the stuff. I just don't know who the hell it is.
That's like when she was talking about Caribbean music, there was a period in time where I was heavy on dancehall. So I'm like, blah. I have to know the name and the new person. And then when I got into Afrobeat, I have to know the name and the new person. And then it kind of drifts off, and I just be like, well, I like that song,
Right.
But I mean,
music I discover I get through walking through TJ Maxx or something.
But no, when you get older, when you start humming to the song inside the grocery store.
You know what's crazy? I ain't gonna lie, because I'm in the bank one day, man, and this song comes on, and it's a Floetry song. I'm like, Dad, which track is this, man? I'm pulling out the Shazam and everything, man.
Yeah.
It's like long gone are the days again on the elevator. And the girl Ipanema comes on.
It's funny how you find music.
That's a good song.
I know, right? But it's funny, right? I've always been able to, like, oh, I know who that is. But I think part of that too, Goose, if we're going to be honest, is that the music companies had a machine.
Mm-hmm.
So that machine ensured that you as a consumer would know the artist's name, know their face, know who they were, identify their sound, identify their music, and anticipate the release of the next project.
Now it's all over the place.
That part, right? And so LimeWire jacked it up for everybody. If you want to blame anyone, Wire, okay? That's where it started. Not only did you end up with 18 viruses on your mama's computer and 16 hours to get one song, but the reality is, long gone were the days we waited patiently by the radio, waiting for your favorite song to come on so you could hit record on your play deck. Right?
You're right about that.
So that to me is now been replaced with a playlist.
Yeah.
And it's been individualized.
Yeah.
Right. So I love that. I think it's dope.
There's some sad aspects to it, but I love it too. I mean, because you could get what you want.
Yeah.
But that's where the death of extraterrestrial radio began.
Now you're not independent, right?
This one is, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been pretty much independent for a long time. And I've been with independent labels. Only was on a major label back in the day with Universal, whatever that one's called. I said that's how long ago that was. Universal something. Anyway, but that's what I put out words through and stuff like that. But then Forevermore was on E1, which is considered independent, and then the latest one was through the European label, actually. But now that's the thing too. They were able to do radio over here.
But let me ask you a question. Are you as a consumer and an artist, because I feel personally that extraterrestrial radio, which means the radio that you would have listened to in your mom and dad's car, is kind of a dying breed.
I hate that.
Because everyone has, XM radio and Sirius and Spotify and Apple Music and all these sort of things are playing.
Are y'all old enough to remember when, like, if you out the side of the city and you're in between, now you got to listen to country?
Right.
That's how I got hip to country. You know what I'm saying? Like, some of I know are from that era, really.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny, but it actually is true. Or all of a sudden your channel that you were listening to turns into something completely different.
Yeah, all of a sudden.
Yeah, how did this happen? So all right, so I gotta ask some questions if you don't mind, because I'd love to pick brains and learn about people. So I see that you are originally from Georgia. Is that correct?
Yeah, Savannah.
Are you do you view yourself as a Southern boy through and through? Do you feel that you're more a person of the world? How have you found your identity?
That's a great question. You know, it's funny. I started this podcast recently. It ain't out yet. Where I'm just kind of, it almost seems like it's sort of a biography. And the first channel or the first chapter is about, because yeah, I'm from Savannah, but I wasn't really born in Savannah. My mom and everybody's from Savannah. I was born in Virginia because I'm also a military brat. My daddy was in the military.
Okay.
So then I landed in Savannah at 8 years old, but I came from Germany. And you know how you learn how to talk in one place, and then you get to where you're from, and then your cousins and everybody, they talk different. You know what I'm saying?
They were making fun of you?
I am a Southerner, but I always felt like an alien. You know what I mean?
That's interesting, because even I think having the exposure of living in different places, for example, Germany, that is you might as well be on another planet when you're talking about cultures, right?
Yeah.
Here
I
and
tell
there.
you one piece where when I was in Germany, there was only one English channel, so we would listen, and I would see like the ball dropping in New York and all that stuff, and they were like, "We're going back to the USA." So I thought it was when I went back to the USA, it was going to be New York.
Isn't it amazing how the child's mind works? How we process things.
Yeah, so I came back and I'm riding on Victory Drive. If you've ever been on Victory Drive in Savannah, all these live oak trees, and I'm like, this is not
what I was thinking. Fair enough.
That's why I joined the military, so I can get out. And then I came back here for some kind of convenience, and it turns out I really love it.
Well, I only like being down there because of Buc-ee's.
Yeah, right. Oh,
I'm
Buc-ee's.
obsessed with
That's more in Florida. We got a Buc-ee's on the way to Alabama. From
there's one actually growing in Virginia currently. I could say growing because it hasn't opened yet, but yes, I'm obsessed with Buc-ee's. And Goose is over here looking at me like, what? But Buc-ee's is like Disney.
I don't know anything about Buc-ee's.
It's like the Disney World of gas stations. You got to go. You have to at least go to Buc-ee's once in a lifetime. You have to experience Buc-ee's. Yo, he is a vibe. Buc-ee is a beaver. Just so you know.
You gotta get that sandwich. You know what I'm saying?
Listen. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So now that we've lost track and I've gone off rails like I do always, I want to know this new project that you are coming out with.
Yeah.
What is the takeaway you want your listener to come away with hearing, or feeling, or experiencing? What's the takeaway?
Well, it's an abstract feeling. It's basically everything I've ever gotten from the music I grew up listening to, which is, I love Anita Baker and all that, Donny Hathaway, yada yada. What I get from music, whatever that feeling is. Hold on, where y'all go? Are y'all there? Oh, what happened? Did we lose it? Oh no.
It's my fault, y'all.
Goose broke us, and he said a bad word.
I got to get you back up.
Oh,
I was trying to get the music up with the mouse here, and you know that.
Technology was technology.
Are y'all in New York?
No, we're in Boston.
We're in Boston. All right, there you go, Mel. You back up. My fault,
technology.
I'm sorry. I was trying to get the music up, man, and you know what? The mouse and trying to move it so it's not
sounds
too
like,
loud.
But what I said was because I meant what I meant to do. Yo, you just got out organized on technology. That's what just
technology
happened.
got me. The mouse got me.
The mouse beat you.
Yeah. Use it over there. But yeah, just whatever you're supposed to get from music, that feeling. That's all I want to do. I just want to give that same thing to the next group of people listening. That's it.
Okay. All right. And before something else happens, because we are short on time. So the song, they can get this on all platforms, of course.
Platforms. Yeah.
And how can people find you?
I'm on the one I be on the most of our social media is probably Instagram. That's Anthony David ATL.
Okay.
I have a TikTok. That's Anthony David Sound. I heard y'all talking about TikTok. I don't understand it that well, so I just don't be on it like that.
If you need a class, you let me know.
See,
and I will say this, man, especially if you're an artist, I think it's a great social media space for all artists.
Yeah.
And the amount of music, I'm not gonna lie, I find a lot of good music on TikTok. I find a lot of good music on TikTok.
That is true. I've sent you artists, so I was like, yo,
Yep,
listen to
and
this
I come
person.
back here and I'll run it.
Yeah, that's real.
I'll run
that's
it.
real.
There's a I can't remember the guy's name, but he's a football player for the Dallas Cowboys. He's an artist, had a dope record out months ago, man, that I was running here that I heard on TikTok.
I think I know you're talking about. I remember that story. Yeah.
I can't remember the guy's name, but I tried to get an interview. I couldn't, I don't know what happened, but we had something scheduled and then practice or travel or something. I don't know. He got back.
He's a current NFL guy, right?
He's a current NFL guy for the Dallas Cowboys. Yep.
Yeah.
Not for nothing. Have you seen your recent Wikipedia picture of yourself?
Oh God.
You might want to see what Wikipedia has done with you.
You know what's funny? Let me make sure, because see, I play ultimate frisbee, right? That's a little sport, and I should play on today later. And one of the guys in the group, this guy. Oh, okay, yeah, okay, I put that one there. Okay, but he be changing my picture. You know what happened is, if you want a picture at all on Wikipedia, it can't be a professional picture or something like that.
Interesting. For copyright reasons, I would assume.
Snap that joint and just throw it up there. You know what I'm saying?
So, you look like you're heading to Nigeria.
Well, that's just me right there.
That look like the vibe. The vibe.
I'm actually on a train on that pic. I was up. It's down here in Georgia. It's some train in North Georgia or whatever, and I was just like, boom. You know what I'm saying?
So I consider it art. It's art.
Art becomes life, and life becomes fiction.
No doubt.
And all together it merges.
No doubt, man.
I love that.
Well, look, man. We're gonna rock this project, of course. Anything you want to add to your social media or any new releases coming out besides this?
We're gonna keep pushing, and like I said, since she brought up the thing that made me talk about the little podcast, I might make that go live today. Called Roots and Runways, and it's on my YouTube channel.
I know. See, and I wanted to ask real quick before we lose you. You're gone. Are you on some self-exploratory space and chapter in your life right now that may be expressed in your music? Because you just shared how this podcast is talking about your story.
100%. I'm always on that, but yeah, that's what people know me from my music for anyway. It's like, I'm in my head a lot. So, but yeah, no, I think it's extra turned up right now. So
that's what's up. I love that for you. Well, I hit you up on Instagram. Let's actually, let's connect. I think that's dope. If you're ever in the city, you always have a place to come here at 98.1.
Definitely get them on the show, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I would really love to have you come into studio. I love when artists are here time and live. So let's figure out how we can make that work.
Go ahead, man.
Because we got the winery. We got a whole lot of places.
Hey, the city winery. I've been there before, but I'm actually coming up north. I'm not going that far. I'm gonna be in New York I'm doing a tour right now still of mostly city wineries where I did a Bill Withers dedication album some years ago, and that was during the pandemic as well, so I didn't get to tour it. So I've been touring that most of this year, which is a lot of Bill Withers songs, and then obviously a lot of my songs as well. So
it's dope. Like I said, tune in tonight because we're on tonight, 98 degrees. We come on at 7 p.m. Hit me up on Insta. I'll send you the links that way you can listen to us on iHeart, because we are one of the only Black-owned radio stations in the New England area on Clear Channel iHeart, which is #1. So that is important for you to know. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. Thank you for blessing us with your presence and your new sound. I appreciate you.
I appreciate y'all as well. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Give it up one time, Anthony David, y'all.
Cause I got the same kind of rational mind, and I'm the same kind of fool. So here we go again. Come on, baby. No, you're not alone this time.
There it is.
You've been on my mind.
Yeah.
For the longest time. Yeah.
Woo.
No, you're not alone this time. You've been on my mind for the longest time.
By the way, Facebook, we do not own the rights to this music. Do not cut us off, please.
Be nice to us.
Be nice to us. We do not own the rights to that music at all. But again, shout out to Anthony David once again. His latest single, The Longest Time. And Great brother there, man. Hope he can get up here at the winery or
That'll be
one of the
dope.
spots here in
Yeah, that'd
Boston.
be dope.
And that's a record, man. I can hear that the cookouts already,
Yeah.
man.
Oh, I could
You know?
definitely hear that being played this summer.
Right.
There's absolutely no doubt about that.
No doubt. And we definitely gonna rock it on R&B Vibes Monday through Friday, except for on Thursdays when we're live. All right. Make sure you check it out on R&B Vibes for sure. All right. So I guess my guy's running a little late. DJ Sensei, where you at, B? Where you be? All right. So we're gonna get him on in a few minutes, hopefully, and he's gonna talk about his health, man. We try and do Black Health at least once a month. Lots of things going on in our community, in particular when it comes to health, man. We just need to get a grips on and at least some awareness, because there's things happening that we just don't talk about. That's a problem. So we want to try and change that so we can improve our health for our kids and all that down the road, man. It's important.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
Yes, indeed. So yeah, let's pick it back up on the crypto stuff, because that space is it's moving, it's happening right now. And again, key dates: July 14th, the ISO 2022 blockchain goes live. What is that? Well, that's the blockchain that handles the cross-border payments when it comes to banks. All the banks are flipping to that on July 14th. That's the scheduled date. It could change, but right now it's July 14th. And then November 22nd, it's going worldwide. Now, in the meantime, with all that being said, your guy, I know some of y'all love him, some of y'all hate him, your president, Donald Trump, said buy crypto and buy stocks, and that $10 trillion will be entering the market. And he said this a few weeks ago. He said 60 days. So now it's less than 60 days. Let's just say by summertime, by the end of the summer, third and fourth quarter, the market's going to be booming. And, he said it's going to be historic, which we talked about a long time ago. We said it was going to be historic before he said it was going to be historic.
Before he was even in office.
Because we happen to have access to certain information that we follow, that's legitimate, that we believe in, and we know that everyone does not, but that's okay. That's okay, but we'll try and pass it on to you.
Yeah. But here's the thing. I want people to realize something too that is happening real time, which is he has already announced that certain projects will be completely exempt from capital gains tax.
And that's
what
huge.
Does that mean?
That's huge.
That means, just so you understand, right? The last administration that did not come into play had said that they planned on even taxing unrealized capital gains tax, which meant that if you held something that had grown and made money, even though you did nothing with it, and it was just living in its little space, loving its best life, they were going to tax you on that money, even though you never touched it, did anything with it, moved it, nothing, right?
Well, that
Which
was
is wild
Kamala.
business. That's what I said.
That's what Kamala was talking
That's
about.
what I said. The administration that did not make it in. That's why I said what I said.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with this new administration, what I think is really happening, which is revolutionary, is they are saying that if it is an American-born project and only is based within American borders, those projects will not be taxed. Meaning, if you make $100, in theory, capital gains can run anywhere between 38% to 42%, depending on your tax bracket.
Bottom line is,
you ain't getting taxed.
You keep all the money.
That part.
You make $1 million, it's all yours. You make $500,000, it's all yours. You will not be taxed on it. Now that law hasn't passed yet, but
I believe
it will definitely pass. Matter of fact, if you live in Florida, there's no capital gains tax for crypto.
Already.
And there's a few places. Missouri's another place.
Really? Already?
No capital gains.
Interesting.
And somewhere in Texas, there's no capital gains tax as well. So it's happening now. It's happening live as we speak. There was also just last week, I believe it was on Tuesday, they came up with regulations for stable coins.
Mm-hmm.
And so and that's huge, by the way, because what that means is now there's some clarity on cryptocurrency, and there's more regulations to come on the other stuff like Bitcoin and XRP and all the other stuff that's going to be around. now the other thing that's going to happen is as regulations come in, a lot of these other coins are going to disappear.
Oh, absolutely.
A lot of them are going to disappear because they're not going to be able to hang and do according to what the regulations say they have to do.
Right.
They're not going to be able to do that here in the United States. So they're going to leave.
Yeah.
And go do business in other countries. So
or they're going to be dissolved.
Exactly. That
right?
too. Yeah, or you're right. Right.
I mean, so I think also too what becomes important for us to think about when we're thinking about crypto especially is that when we talk about it, it actually creates a platform that equalizes a lot of spaces that we have been disfranchised in.
Right.
And I think people also don't realize that the system is set up so that you are paying attention to what's happening with the right hand, not watching what's happening with the left hand. It just so happens to be that the individual that is in the office of president right now has a tendency to be transparent in ways that most people do not. Right. So he is literally giving you the play-by-play of what is about to happen, whether it's going to happen exactly how he's laying it out. I think there's a good possibility that most of the things in which he is spoken on are going to play out. I really do believe that.
Right.
So, like we always say, we are not here giving you financial advice. We are in no way, shape, or form financial advisors or telling you what you do. We do ask that you do your due diligence, do your research, figure out what makes sense for you, figure out what you're going to do, but don't just not do anything. That's the worst thing.
No doubt.
Right? That's the worst thing.
No doubt. And just to talk about the kids real quick,
Goose love the kids.
I love the kids, man, but
Goose
these
love
kids
the
are
kids.
different. These kids are different today,
This
man.
new generation?
This new generation, man. I had a friend call me yesterday, man. He said, listen, you got any of your apartments, man, because I'm putting her out, man.
And no.
And I'm saying, I'm not going to say his name or anything like that. But I'm like, okay. Is she ready to pay rent? Because it's rough out here, man. And he's like, hold on, this might be my guy here. And it is. Hang on 1 second. All right, you could take it. Take it for a second.
Yeah. So, I think that I say, oh no, because I definitely have had these conversations with my kiddos. I do think that our society, like, he's so loud. My gosh. Goose. Like, you can't help yourself. I'm
turn the mic off.
Yeah, but your voice travels. It's like, oh, yeah, I got that. You go to blah, blah.
He's running late. He's letting me know, man. So he's coming in, man. We got DJ Sensei coming in here, man. He's got a health issue he wants to share with everybody, and he wants to talk about. And I'm all for it because one of the things we want to try to do here at the Urban Heat is bring awareness to some of the things that hurt us in the Black community, especially when it comes to Black health. So he's going to talk.
Health equity is important.
Oh no, it's huge.
Absolutely.
It's huge, man.
Absolutely.
A lot of things: diabetes, cancer, asthma, all kinds of stuff, man. So we're going to talk about that shortly as soon as he gets here. I hope he gets here sooner than later. But we'll figure it out. We'll get that done. All right. Yes.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
I love it too.
But yeah, I do believe that in our community, especially when we talk about this, is one of the things I love about this platform. And shout out to Marv Neal, who always makes it available for us to educate. Education is always in the forefront of everything that we do. I mean, it's cool to be entertained. It's cool to play good music. It's good, have funs and throw parties and all that sort of stuff. But if we can't tangibly give something to our listeners for them to walk away whole, then we're doing a miscarriage of justice. And
information is important, and you would be surprised at how much information and what people don't know about things they should know.
Or things that are happening in your own city and you don't even realize it was going on until after the event.
Right.
Which is also something that happens a lot.
And there's stuff we talk about all the time. And I'm always talking about the food because
not the food, Goose.
Yeah,
Are we going to the food?
I mean, we can. Why not? It's a big deal. Maybe the people that heard us before didn't hear us the way they should have heard us, or maybe someone didn't hear us at all.
That's fair. Let's talk about the food for a second. I'm willing to do that.
All right, what you want to talk about the food? What do you want to say? What do you got to say about the food?
I shout out to the Urban Farming Institute. I'm gonna
They're
shout.
opening up soon, right?
Yeah, June 27th, I believe, is going to be their first
I
farm
will be
stand.
there. I will be there.
You know, I am girl crushing on the farm, not the individuals, but the farm itself, because I just feel like we are in a space and time where absolutely our food is slowly killing us, and we are consuming things that are not good for us, and a lot of us don't even realize that what we're consuming is harming us, and it is being presented as things that are relatable or things that we have grown to believe do certain things for nutrients for our bodies, but we're now learning that that's not really what's going on, right? So I do think, you know, I can't even believe I'm about to say this on air. Maybe you might want to record this one.
Oh, it's recording.
This might be a clip. Let me look directly in the camera when I say this.
Listen up.
Goose, you are correct. The food that we consume that is being provided to us in a lot of these desert oasis spaces in our community is literally set up to kill us. I said it. Well, I have fought you tooth and nail for almost 2 years on this concept. Like, Goose, you crazy. Goose, no one cares about numbers. Goose, it doesn't matter how many stripes are on the watermelon. What do you mean there's no seeds? Who wants seeds anyways? I'm glad the seeds are missing.
I didn't know about the stripes on the watermelon, but okay.
But, you know, but again, because I went down the rabbit hole, you know what happens.
Or the seeds in the watermelon. Okay.
Yeah. So if they don't have seeds, that means that they've actually been modified.
Right.
So they're GMO'd, right? The black seed. So any fruit that still has seeds in it
is natural.
Is a natural fruit. So when you have grapes that are seedless, that means that they have been genetically modified. If you have grapes that have seeds in them, that means those are grapes that have grown from what they would call heirloom seeds, right?
Yep.
So you're absolutely correct. Gosh darn it. I hate to just openly admit this because I hate being that person.
Well,
but
you know, the crazy thing, and I'm going to tell you too, what also brought it to my awareness is like moms, right? So, you know, moms is cook. You know, back in the day, the mothers and even some of the fathers, they cooked compared to how people cook today.
Facts.
I mean, they cooked. You know,
cakes.
they went out to the garden and got the potatoes, the greens, and any and everything, the carrots, all the food, whatever it was, they cooked for real, right?
Right.
And so moms one day just said, like, I can't find good this. I can't get it. Don't taste the same anymore. Something's wrong. And, you know, it really was about them changing the stuff that they put in the food.
Yeah.
And then you got people like Bill Gates who bought up all the farmland and still buying up land in certain places and modifying the fake meat, whatever they call the meat. I mean, you got all kinds of stuff going on. And then you go in the store, everything is numbered nowadays. And everything's got a number, starting with 1, going all the way up to 9. You know,
it's the last number you need to worry about, right?
It's the beginning. First of all,
number.
Anything is 9 is supposed to be natural, from what I hear.
Okay.
Right. 1 or 2 or whatever it is all modified, GMO or whatever. But yeah, just look it up so you can know what you're buying. But a lot of the food in the supermarket has been modified. You know,
I mean,
and it's crazy.
I think it is crazy business. I think it's also very telling when you have CEOs of organizations saying that they would not allow their family members to consume the food in which we consume daily. I think is also very telling. What do you know that we don't know? And one of the things that Goose has been saying for a while, which, you know, again, I'm like, oh, come on, Goose, you know, too much conspiracies going on here. But I have to agree that a lot of young people are dying at really young ages. I just recently learned of someone that I know has just lost a family member who was 40 years old.
Right.
Literally was in the store and just dropped in the store. Right. So, of course, they're going to have to do, you know, an autopsy to find out what happens. Most likely, a lot of times when that sort of thing happens, there's probably an aneurysm or something happens where the brain, the heart, something happens. Right. It's not a natural cause thing because no one should be dropping at 40 inside of a grocery store. Right. So I don't know what was going on with that person's health. But what I do know is that these numbers don't make sense.
Right.
And something is going on that we need to figure out. You know, even when you look at something like autism, 25 years ago, the number was something close to 600 to 1, meaning out of all 600 births, one kid may be autistic. Today, that number is 31 to 1.
Right.
Those are astronomical numbers that are screaming that there's something going on, whether it's our environment, whether it's the food, whether it's, you know, the way they're scheduling, how they're doing vaccines and vaccinations and the amounts of things. I don't know what these things look like, but what I do know is that we have got to figure out as a community and as a people what is going on,
right,
so we can stop it. Because the reality has always been, we as a community have had a great mistrust within the medical space because they have not always treated us correctly.
Right.
And they have used us like guinea pigs, and they have done a whole lot of things, right? There's so many different spaces where we could say this. And so why do Black women die at a much greater rate in childbirth than white women? Why are Black women dying at a higher rate for breast cancer than white women? There are so many different spaces where, why do Black men have prostate cancer at a greater rate than white men?
Right.
Again, we're going into all these spaces where we have to ask these really uncomfortable questions, because the fact of the matter is, again, I go back to the metadata does not lie as long as it has not been fudged by man.
Which is the perfect segue because our guest is here. So here's what we're going to do, right? We're going to shut it down for about 5 minutes.
So we can set them up.
We're going to set them up. We're going to come back. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back. Give us like 5 minutes. Urban Heat, R&B Talk on a Thursday.